And the fourth is the lower body. So your legs, obviously. So if you make sure that your program includes some exercise that hits all four of the hot zones, that's all you need in a workout program. And this is coming a lot from when I was training women, because mentally they were not interested in doing as much strength training as guys. So I was trying to figure out how I could do as little strength training as possible, but still get the entire body exercise. So if you go back to that 2 exercise body weight warm-up that I gave you, the prisoner squat and the push-up, you take a look and you realize it covers the 4 hot zones, because with your arms up here, it covers the upper back. The squatting motion obviously covers the lower body hot zone. And then when you do the push-ups, your abs are braced, so it works the abdominals, and the pushing movement obviously works the chest. So that's how you cover the 4 hot zones. And then you can expand to have a few extra exercises in there to get a little bit more detailed. But I just want to try and simplify things as much as possible. I'm not looking at biceps, triceps. I'm just looking at the combination of muscles and movement patterns there. I talked a little bit about what I would do with beginners. Somebody comes to me, they haven't worked out in years. We're going to make some different adaptations in their workout program, because they're not going to be able to do the full-on programs. So in addition to, first of all, finding them an activity that they will do consistently, that's the first and foremost thing that I'll do with somebody who wants to lose weight, who's a beginner and isn't really a big gym fanatic. That's the first thing. And then we'll try and get them into 2 structured strength training workouts per week, because no matter what your goals are, you still need some type of strength training for long-term health. So the adaptations I would make, or the changes I would make in a beginner's workout to keep them sticking to the program, to make sure they're not too sore, is, first of all, 1 set per exercise. So that's the main problem that people make when they first start a workout, is they try and do the 3 sets or 4 sets per exercise. They end up way too sore, and they'll drop out because of that. So even when you're starting a new program, even if you've been training for a long time, there's definitely a lot of value in decreasing the volume and the intensity in the first week back in a program. So personally, when I switch my programs up 4 weeks, every 4 weeks, the first week in, I try and rein myself in a bit and not train as hard as I was in the last 3 weeks. So 1, I'm not going to be as sore, because every time you introduce a new movement, you're going to be sore. And every time you have that high volume, you're going to be sore as well. So we just take it easy. Another thing with beginner clients, this is maybe a tip for trainers that are here. If I could do one thing differently training beginners that I didn't do enough back in the day, is I'd probably have them slow the movement down even more. I mean, I generally had them do the movement slow and controlled, but I would probably slow it down even more, because the number one question that I get from people when I'm training them, especially with new exercises, and I always hate to hear this one, is, what muscle groups are these working? Because people that, I've been doing the exercises for so long, I'm taking for granted that I know exactly what muscle groups are working. But when you're training someone new, they often don't know, and so you need to have them slow it down and focus on the muscle groups that are working. And that's one thing that I would do differently with a brand new beginner. If you're a beginner, you also need to take a little extra rest in between the sets. So once you become a regular turbulence training user, you're going to be going through the workouts really fast, very short rest intervals. But obviously with a beginner, we're going to take longer rest periods. I mean, I've trained guys up to about 325 pounds with the turbulence training system, overweight 325 pounds, and we have to take 1, 2, 3 full minutes in between the push-ups and the stability ball leg curls, because they're so deconditioned. So obviously, err on the side of caution there and give people extra rest, or take extra rest if the turbulence training system is new to you. So really, that's one of the biggest surprises, that when people first start training just with bodyweight exercises, how intense and difficult it can be for, obviously, an overweight beginner. So they can do a really powerful workout just down lying on the ground. All right, so the beginner turbulence training workout, after they've gone through a couple weeks of introductory programs, we're going to start them with a superset of dumbbell squat and push-ups, or kneeling push-ups. And that goes back similar, to that first bodyweight circuit warm-up that I mentioned of the prisoner squats and the push-ups. So this is very similar to it. And if the beginner did nothing but, 3 rounds of the first superset, that superset is so effective that they could probably get 75% of the entire workout results just from that. So when people are really busy and they think, well, I only have 10 or 15 minutes to do my strength training, and normally my workout takes 25 minutes, so I'm not going to do it at all, that's obviously the wrong kind of thinking. What we want to focus them on is they have 2 options. So if you've got a really busy person, they only have 10 or 15 minutes, they can either do all of superset number 1 and do it 3 times like the regular workout calls for, or they can do 1 set of each exercise in the entire workout. So they do 6 exercises there. And that, they get done in 10 or 12 minutes, and they'd still get, like I said, probably about 75% of the results. So it's really focusing on making sure they hit that right intensity in each exercise. So after they've done the dumbbell squat and kneeling push-up, we pretty much covered all the hot zones there, but then we're going to move into the dumbbell row and stability ball leg curl. And here you see that we've got the one exercise that's going to work the grip, so we can't do an exercise like dumbbell squats with dumbbell rows because it wouldn't be able to hold on to the weight. So we've got them doing a stability ball leg curl where obviously there's no interference from the grip strength. And one other thing I try and have in all the turbulence training programs is we really focus more on the back of the body than on the front of the body. So lots of exercises focusing on the glutes, hamstrings, and the upper back. Whereas, traditional bodybuilding programs or in any program that someone makes for themselves, most of the exercises involve the chest, arms, and quadriceps. So we've got quite a reversed way of thinking there. And then to finish off this workout, we'll do torso training is what I call it, core training is what other people call it, but just exercises for the torso area for endurance purposes and for building up that strength and being able to help avoid back pain, because what we want to do is build up endurance in the abdominal muscles, and that's associated with a reduced risk of back problems. So that was workout A. In all the turbulence training programs that I originally put together, we were just on a workout A, workout B rotation. Now you'll see, especially in the January program, we go workout A, workout B, and workout C. And generally with that third workout, that C workout, we're trying to incorporate some aspect of the challenge, that motivational aspect of it. So we're using the workout as the motivation to get them to stick with it. But in this beginner program, we only have workout A and workout B, and we'll alternate them back and forth for 2 to 3 workouts per week. With the beginner, we might only have them do workout A once and workout B once each week. And then finally, in intermediate level, then we'll get them going 3 times per week. Because one of the most important things to understand about resistance training and interval training is the efficiency of what you're doing. Is that you don't need to do as much exercise as all the magazines showed you in the past if you're doing the right level of intensity. So, I grew up, and Brad did too, and John. We grew up reading, Arnold stuff in magazines. There was more bicep exercises in the articles we read than there are exercises in this entire total body workout. And so we've had that drilled into us over the years that, and same with a lot of guys that start my programs, is that, this is such a mindset shift to, do only one exercise for chest in a workout. Guys' heads explode because they can't even fathom that they're only doing one chest exercise in a workout. But that's what we're trying to get down to here. And if you have a person who's doing that much volume and you just slowly bring them back down, like, okay, instead of doing 4 chest exercises in your workout, just do 3, and I bet you won't notice a difference. And then they do it and they notice, oh yeah, I can cut my volume by 25%. And then you cut it again, and again they don't notice any changes. It's just bringing them back from that high volume, switching them over to this total body mindset that we eventually switch people's attitudes and opinions towards the volume of exercise they need to do to get results. So in workout B, we start with a dumbbell chest press and a dumbbell step up. Very similar to that first superset that we did in workout A. We've got the upper body pushing exercise, although we've switched the order around. And dumbbell step up, most of the exercises where you hold dumbbells in your hand, you're actually going to get a lot of upper back work just from holding the dumbbells with proper posture. So that's what we've achieved there in the dumbbell step up. Then in the elevated push-up, that's an exercise where you have one hand elevated